And not just once when you're feeling brave, but making it a habit, a daily habit to talk about yourself and your offers like they're the best fucking thing ever. And this is exactly how imposter syndrome comes into play here, because so many of y'all don't want to talk yourself up, share your own wins or your client wins, or post incessantly about your services because of the fear of not measuring up or not being good enough or not being liked.
You're listening to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. I'm your host, Jill Perrick, a business and mindset coach who specializes in imposter syndrome. If you feel like you're not as smart, capable, or worthy as you actually are, and that someone is going to find you out, then you come to the right place. I went from being a struggling government worker, working my coaching business on the side, but feeling unworthy and burnt out, to making multiple six figures helping women overcome imposter syndrome so they too can sign clients, make bank, and have the business or career of their dreams. I am nothing special. I have a stuttering disability, ADHD, and I struggle with anxiety and depression. So if I can learn how to feel good enough and overcome my inner imposter, then so can you. Let's dig in.
Hello, my loves. Welcome back to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. I'm your host, Jill Perrick, and I'm so excited about today's episode because we're going to be talking about being seen at new levels and taking up space with your offers. And you guys, this is the exact work that we do inside of the From Imposter to Empowered program, which is my group program for coaches and online service providers who are making between 0K to 3K a month and are really ready to step into their business owner identity. They want to make 5K a month and that be their bare minimum monthly income, and take this whole online business thing fucking seriously. And the reason why you maybe aren't doing that right now is because you're scared, because imposter syndrome has you by the balls and you think often, who am I to do this, to have a business, to coach other people, to promise results? So you don't show up consistently. You don't sell often or at all. But there's this part of you that knows if you could get your shit together, if you could just learn how to show up consistently without burning the fuck out and needing to take like 10 days off when you upload Instagram stories a couple days in a row, if you could learn how to sell your offer with the complete confidence in yourself and in that offer in order to get your clients results, you would sign clients in your business and make the money that you really want to make. And this, my love, is where everybody starts. They start at the point of being like, fuck it, I'm gonna go all in. That feeling is magic, and that is the feeling that every one of my clients have had before they've joined the From Imposter to Empowered program. They were ready to dive into their business, whether for the first time or again after a year or two or even 3 of not really seeing results. They were ready to show the fuck up for themselves, show the fuck up for their business, and the From Imposter to Empowered program is going to do that for you too, and give you the tools to make 5K months your bare fucking minimum monthly income in your business. You can join now for just $444 a month, and you'll join us for 6 months where you will overcome imposter syndrome, learn how to show up consistently without burning out, sell your offers with confidence so you can make 5K a month and leave your full-time job, grow your brand and your business, and be the motherfucking CEO that you know you're meant to be. We actually just had a From Imposter to Empowered girly leave her full-time job a couple of weeks ago now, and she is fucking thriving. She is doing the thing. She took the leap, and this could be you. So the link is in my show notes to join. You can join directly from there. Now let's get into the episode. So today we're going to talk about feeling safe to be seen online and taking up space with your offers, because here's the thing. So many of us as young women have been conditioned to not take up space. We've been taught to not need help. We've been taught to not brag or boast. We've been taught to dim our light so other people won't feel uncomfortable. And yet here you are, a fucking coach or online service provider on the internet. And that is basically a requirement to get in your audience's face every day and say, hey, pay me thousands of dollars, please. Like, if you really think about it, it is kind of wild. And if getting in your audience's face made you cringe, made you want to step back, kind of made you want to retreat into yourself, I have to tell you, it's true though. Whether it's cringy or not, you are on a proverbial stage talking yourself and your services up, compelling your audience to work with you, helping them move closer and closer to deciding to work with you. And this is extremely unnatural behavior for like 99% of the population. So if you beat yourself up about it, literally don't. You're a human being, and it makes total sense why you would be really resistant to this, especially if you have been subconsciously conditioned to stay small, to stay quiet, to feel insignificant your whole life. Showing up on social media and being seen and talking yourself up, of course, is going to be difficult. And like I said, especially as women, we're conditioned to not be seen as too much. And we think that that is like the worst thing ever to our brains, right? We don't want to stand out. Even biologically, every single human has the desire to belong, because years and years ago, that was how you survived, was you belonged to a tribe, you belonged to a group, and if you were exiled, if you were sent on your own, you probably died, right? You didn't have the resources that you needed. So we are conditioned over years of generations and generations to seek belonging. And I know that this being seen and purposely standing out was something that I really had to confront when I started showing up a couple of years ago when I started my business. Like, I'm the kind of person who I didn't even want my friends to focus on me when I had conversations with them. I always pointed the conversations towards them. If they said, "How are you? Tell me about blah, blah, blah," I'd be like, "No, like, you tell me about you." I was so uncomfortable with compliments, so uncomfortable with receiving. And this is something that I've had to heal for my money mindset to improve. And again, from a historical perspective, this makes sense. Pack mentality is real. There's safety in being a part of the pack. So when you show up on social media, you're literally separating yourself from the pack, and that can feel super dangerous to the primitive mind. It can quite honestly feel like we're heading for death to our nervous systems. It can feel jarring and completely unsafe and can be very dysregulating. So if you feel anxious or nervous before you show up, before you go live, or if you go into fawn or freeze response, which is a passive or frozen state when trying to create content, this is an alarm bell from your nervous system that you feel unsafe, even if it's a very subtle change in your physiology. Like, I remember I used to get really tired whenever I would try to create content. I would start to yawn. I would start to feel sleepy. I would literally shut down because I was so dysregulated from thinking about having to create content that was like speaking to my ideal client and that was the right kind of content and putting it out there, right? And like, as a content expert now, I'm very, very good at creating thought-provoking content and creating content that moves clients towards working with me. Like, I really had to work on that and see that as an alarm bell from my nervous system, right? So it makes total sense why you would feel this way. I actually have a meditation and an EFT tapping sequence that I made exclusively for my clients for when they are about to do content creation, because again, it can be very dysregulating, and that's why so many of you guys freeze up, you don't know what to say, think you sound stupid, delete your videos, etc. And have you ever compared yourself to the way that others show up? So I hear this from a lot of people. They're like, "Jill, how the fuck do you show up so often and always with something to say?" And the thing is I see everything that I have to say or what I do on my platform as valuable, right? Like, I don't discredit myself. I don't think I'm stupid. I think that my thoughts are always valuable to my potential soulmate clients and my audience. I think that the stories that I'm telling and the things that I'm saying are going to be relevant to my potential clients, right? And I also want you to think about this because I was having a conversation with a client in my mastermind actually about this, how there are some people who want you to be like mysterious in your content. They don't want you to say too much. They don't want you to over explain. They're like, "You're talking too much. You're posting too much content, blah, 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 blah." And I'm the opposite. Like, I think that you can never say enough, right? And if you get caught in that perfectionism cycle of, I need to say the perfect thing, you'll end up not saying a lot about your offers, about yourself, telling your stories, and you will condition yourself to really hold back. And then you're going to question every little piece of content that goes out, because if it's not perfect, if you think it doesn't have the right information, if you think people are going to get bored and they're going to swipe on whatever it is, you'll say less, instead of showing up and really sharing your truth, sharing your voice, sharing your story, and subsequently really hard selling your offer often. I also used to have like a lot of judgments about people, specifically influencers, who would show up and share stories. Because when I was a baby coach, I would see other coaches talking about themselves and their coaching, and I would feel so judgy about how they were doing it. But the judgment, as we know, judgment is really just our fears projected outwards onto other people. Everything is a mirror. And I was afraid that if I showed up in that way, that people would think that I was annoying, that I would think like, oh, she thinks she's so important and her stories are so important, right? Like I tell myself that no one cared about my life or cared about my stories or cared about what I had to say, which was obviously conditioning from my childhood and being a woman and being shut down a lot. I also have a speech disability. So that really came into play because there were a lot of circumstances where I just learned to like shut up and not say anything because it was just easier, right? And I was afraid that if I sold every day, people would think that I was pushy and salesy. I was afraid that if I shared client wins, people would think I was taking credit for them and that I was bragging. And when you're a woman who has been taught to put other people's emotions before your own, when you're a woman who is taught to be nice above all else, to make others feel comfortable, even if you feel uncomfortable, and to prioritize being liked over making money, this is very unconscious, but you will shy away from doing the very things required to sell in the online space, required to be a big fucking deal in the online space. Like show up consistently, sell your offers with boldness and tenacity, share client wins and testimonials, and talk yourself up as the coach, the service provider that can help others. And not just once when you're feeling brave, but making it a habit, a daily habit to talk about yourself and your offers like they're the best fucking thing ever. And this is exactly how imposter syndrome comes into play here, because so many of y'all don't want to talk yourself up, share your own wins or your client wins, or post incessantly about your services because of the fear of not measuring up or not being good enough or not being liked. And this will also unconsciously manifest into the fear of being seen, because what if you're being seen by others and you're being recognized and people want to work with you and they're disappointed? Or they think that you don't measure up. These are poisonous thoughts. This doesn't fucking happen, guys. This is very rare. When you're actually fucking good at the work that you do, when you actually care about the humans in your business, these are just poisonous thoughts that you believe are the truth that will seep into your marketing, no doubt, if they're left unchecked. So here's the fucking truth. Marketing yourself as a coach online takes a level of self-absorption, a level of who the fuck does she think she is, a level of did I just really have the balls to say that, a level of boldness that feels completely unnatural at first, but only because of the conditioning that you've received. Don't get it twisted. When I say self-absorption, I mean self-absorption by way of loving and accepting yourself, because it's gonna feel impossible to talk yourself up and claim your coaching is the shit, consistently market your services if you don't love and accept yourself. And I want you to think about your own judgments around this and where you may have learned that it was bad to celebrate or think highly of yourself. So for me personally, I had a very close friend in high school who would routinely shoot me down when I wanted to celebrate myself at all. Like I remember making a good play in flag football. I used to love flag football so much. And she said, "Oh, you just think you're so good, don't you?" Right? Like I was 15 years old at the time and I felt so stupid for wanting to feel good about myself and celebrate myself, right? And emotions, especially negative ones, are the reason why experiences stick with us, because we can remember how something felt and it brings us back to that moment in time. And if something made us feel shitty, it's our natural impulse to not want to experience that feeling again. And if we can get an inkling that something might make us feel that way or might make us feel uncomfortable, we will unconsciously avoid it and can self-sabotage ourselves in the process, because our unconscious desires are not worried about what's actually best for us. It's just wanting to keep us safe. Your unconscious is just wanting to keep you safe, right? Especially because the best things for us usually require us to push past our comfort zone to do things that scare us. So what if it just takes your nervous system some time to get accustomed to doing this, to creating the content, to showing up live? What if you didn't beat yourself up for showing up feeling hard or difficult because you know it's just your brain and your body getting on board with this foreign action you're not used to taking. Even if you're so used to showing up but not selling directly, that is even something you will have to be accustomed to doing. Like, I'm telling you, it took me some time to acclimatize to directly selling my offers without a long ass Instagram story where I gave all this value and then sold at the end. I had to learn that I can directly sell without thinking that people were going to drop off, without giving a shit. And the second I started doing that, people started buying more. All of our actions become repetition at some point, but they also need to begin at some point too. And your nervous system, your brain, your body, they need time to get on board with this new life-threatening thing that it thinks you're doing. Even if you rationally and consciously know that you're not going to die by uploading an Instagram story, celebrating yourself or talking yourself up. You have to learn how to have the who the fuck does she think she is audacity, the gall, the balls to go out there and do your thing, the guts to share your client wins, the guts to say, I am the best at what I do. I have multiple friends in the online space from the mastermind that we all used to be in, and something that we all have in common is that we're ridiculously confident about our services. I'm always responding to their Instagram stories being like, holy shit, this is so good, the ball's on you to say this, because when you have the audacity to be confident in yourself and your services, you will be rewarded sooner than you even realize. Having the audacity to share client wins and own where your credit is due, or to share your own wins, or to say that your coaching is the shit, it goes against everything you've been taught as a woman, as a child, etc. But it's fucking magnetic. It is so magnetic as a coach or service provider selling her shit. It really truly is. We all think that when we sell, it's annoying to other people or they don't like it, but they are on your page. They're following you. They're listening to your podcast. They're on your email list. They want to fucking be there. And if they didn't, they would unsubscribe. They would leave. Who the fuck cares? Sayonara. They weren't going to pay you anyways, right? The people who are watching, the people who are there, they want you to sell to them. And you would be surprised at how fucking magnetic it is to stand in your personal power when you sell. How many women are like, fuck yes, I need that, or I need to be like that. I even think about the word salesy, and I just think it's crazy that we made it subliminally bad to sell our services. One of my clients' moms was reviewing her workshop this one time, and when my client got to the end of the workshop, she was selling her 3-month coaching package, and her mom said it was a bit too salesy. And when she told me this over Voxer, I said, no offense to your mom, but she doesn't know what she's talking about. Like, it sounds salesy because you're selling. It's supposed to sound salesy. None of this skirting around your sales, none of this pretending to not be selling something and being secretive about it. If you're a coach or service provider who markets herself online, you're selling an offer, and I want you to have the audacity this week to be salesy as fuck. And that might require a level of self-absorption and definitely a level of being comfortable being seen. So I want you to sit down and brain dump all the judgments you have of others and yourself when it comes to being seen on the internet, when it comes to selling your offers. And I want you to include where you learned these judgments and fears from. And then I want you to light that bitch on fire when you've dumped it all out, taking back your energy and vowing to start acclimatizing your nervous system to this new version of yourself. The version of you that shows up just a little bit each day if you need to start slow, and getting yourself comfortable with showing yourself off. Not just once, not just twice, but making it a habit every fucking day. To push yourself to the edge every time you do a post or an Instagram story, really fucking owning who you are and the work that you do. Your work is important, necessary, and deserves to be shared, but we can't experience it unless you put yourself out there. Your soulmate clients can't find you and love you and want to work with you if you don't let yourself be fucking seen. And that's exactly what will happen when you join the From Imposter to Empowered program. You're going to put yourself in front of your soulmate clients who are dying to work with you and pay you, and you're actually going to believe that there's people in the fucking world who want to pay you and want to work with you. You'll learn how to show up consistently without burning yourself out or being too attached to your phone 24/7. You'll learn how to sell your offers with confidence and with the messaging that calls in the right people to your offers and the people who will pay your prices, and you'll work your way up to 5K months in your business. business. And that's just the fucking beginning. It'll happen for you when you join the From Imposter to Empowered program for 6 months for just $444 a month, where you'll get access to the full From Imposter to Empowered curriculum, which is organized by way of mindset, manifestation, and money and strategy. You'll receive access to my 3 courses on content, sales, and launching. You'll be coached on our monthly hot seat coaching calls and in our Slack community every single week, and you'll get access to client events such as client content parties and breathwork sessions. Join in now at the link in my show notes. I love you guys, and I'll see you next week.
Thanks so much for listening to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. Head to the show notes to learn how you can work with me, where you can buy my best-selling book, You're Not Special, and how to get on my email list for free. Screenshot this episode and add it to your Instagram stories, tagging me at YourCoachJill. See you next time.